Dude, okay. How much do
toes.
you... What?
Oh, what?
How much do you love John Bernthal?
All 10 toes.
10 toes of love for John... What if he only has 9? What if you find out he has 9 and that was offensive to him?
Then I'm going to cut one of my toes off and give it to him.
What if one day you're offered the opportunity to speed date an autistic Ben Affleck in order to get toward John Bernthal?
Then guess what? I'm going to talk about numbers and airstreams with Ben Affleck's character from The Accountant. I think his name's like Nathan Wolf or something.
Is your brother here?
Where's your brother?
I love.
Is he here?
I love how his brother is like the exact opposite though. He's just like,
Yeah.
I have there's nothing wrong with me. I'm on the opposite end of whatever spectrum he's on.
Everything's okay.
Are they twins in that too?
No, they're just John Bernthal's his younger brother. Have you seen the first
Remember
one?
Remember the
You
biggest.
should. Okay, the first one's good. It's got Anna Kendrick.
Oh, I love that. All right.
Yeah.
This is reminding me of the biggest lie Hollywood ever tried to sell us, and that was that Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger were somehow twins.
You're supposed to make a triplets to that too, dude.
No! Who's there? Who's
Yeah.
the triplet? DMX.
Who do you think?
DMX.
It'd be Stallone. It'd be Stallone, not DMX.
Look,
John
if Danny
Michael White.
DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger can be twins, DMX can be their triplet. Okay? Plus, that would be the perfect soundtrack. It'd just start out da 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 da. You know, chop, chop.
Who's? Are you talking about DMX?
Yeah,
Like
that's
the
DMX
bikes?
from Rough Riders.
Who's DMX?
DMX, the rapper.
Who's that?
You don't know who the fuck DMX is?
X gon' give it to you.
Yes,
X
thank
gon'
you.
give it
Okay,
to you.
all right. Jesus Christ.
I didn't know how long. I
You're
should keep
about
that
to
bit
make me
going.
lose my mind up in here.
Up in here. Up in here. Very paranoid about not having my mic set up right, so I'm like,
What? Why is it not set up right?
Because I turned it.
Don't.
During Minecraft,
Okay.
like that.
Just the thing's got to face you. You see the thing?
That's why I'm very careful. Now I don't see anything, Kevin.
You see?
The butthole. Yeah, the butthole has to face you.
The butthole has to face you. You got to face. That's what cats say every time they're stretching in front of you. They're like, the butthole has to
butthole.
face you.
Butthole faces east.
All right, ready to clap?
Oh, right. Yeah, that's something we do.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of the UnPop podcast. My name is Kevin Manor, your Capitan Todo Siempre. He, him with me as always.
Odie Matthews. They, them. I froze. Can I...
Why am I
Do we
crushing
just-
this and you're not? What? All right, hold on.
Send me it again.
Welcome back to another episode of the UnPop podcast. My name is Kevin Manor. He, him, your Capitan Total El Siempre. With me as always is...
Odie Matthews, the chef, cooking up content, 99 FM, they, them.
WTTFM. They,
We're
them,
here to
FM.
talk about all your UnPop news.
Yes,
after
that's
this commercial
right.
break.
That's 100% right. Yeah, let's just jump right into the news. Fuck it, we got a ton going on, and your D&D session seems to just control all of your weekend schedules now. You gotta go
Kevin,
fight
if you think we're
dragons
gonna
all the time now.
I will tell you what, if we record for 4 hours, which is how long we would have to record from this moment, if this podcast episode is 4 hours long, I will DoorDash you a Whopper. How about that?
I hope you're ready for me to talk for 4 hours, baby.
Don't filibuster me.
I'll Cory Booker this bitch. All right, let's kick it off with the news.
Yeah, baby. It's the UnPop news coming at you fresh and hot from the command deck of the SS Marlon Brando. Let's see what this week had in store.
Star Wars Celebration. Did you know that was going on?
I thought you were just like trying a new like catchphrase. Star Wars Celebration.
Star Wars
Bitches.
Celebration.
That's what I thought.
Hashtag.
I thought you were just gonna say Star Wars Celebration, bitches. All right. I did not know that was going on. What's going on with Star Wars Celebration? Hit me.
So there's some news. We're obviously Star Wars Celebration still going on as we're recording. So I
right
just wanted
now?
to kind of quickly highlight. Yeah, it's this weekend.
All right, hold on. I'll play the party music. I put lasers in the back.
Everyone's got to stop dancing.
All right.
Otherwise, you can keep going.
Star Wars Celebration. Hit me.
Okay, so first off, it's confirmed Hayden Christensen's going to return as Anakin Skywalker in Ahsoka Season 2.
Oh, okay.
Totally forgot there was even going to be a Season 2 of that show.
I was like, wait, what? It's confirmed he's going to return. I was like, he did already.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
forgot
the
there was gonna
return.
be a Season 2. Yeah, he's returning.
Dude, they have to do Ahsoka Season 2 because they went to the fucking place with the space whales.
Yeah, but, I mean, do you remember anything about that?
Yes, I remember there were cool witches who ended up not being so cool at the end of it. They've got Thrawn, who was played by the guy who voiced Thrawn, which was cool.
Yeah.
I love Rosario Dawson, so, like, ipso facto, that season already is, like, a 6 out of 10 for me. The Ray, what was his name? Ray, whatever.
Winston.
Yep, but he died.
Balin Skull, I think his name is.
Yes, and so now they're gonna recast him, and that is probably the biggest bummer of that entire thing. But then they got to the planet with the guy from Clone Wars and Rebels. What's his name?
Ezra Miller.
No,
wait.
No.
Nope. That's that's the.
His name's Ezra, though, right?
Yeah, it's Ezra something.
Ezra something. They got Star Wars Jesus is there.
Yeah, Star Wars Jesus.
That's what he is. He's Star Wars or Moses. I don't know. Anyway.
Both.
What Star Wars religious icon is there, and then there was the other lady who was like all headstrong, right? And then
the Mandalorian.
Yeah. And then she was all like, "Oh, we gotta fucking solve this problem." There's like the Raiders, and they partnered with the crab people.
So you remember enough.
It was a great show.
You know
it was fine.
But again, my problem with this time period, and I really didn't want to dive into this, but now we're going to.
Okay.
My problem with this time period between Episode 6 and Episode 7.
Oh, I thought you meant
doesn't
2025.
matter. It does not matter what happens because we know exactly where it's going.
Yeah.
Which is a good way for me to dive into the next piece of news from Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah,
This is probably the biggest and honestly the most surprising. Sean
Andor
Levy,
season 3. No.
No. Oh, Andor season 2 is delayed. But
what?
April Fools.
Oh, okay.
Phew.
I got worried.
On April 19th. April Fools.
You got me. I wasn't ready for April Fool's Day to be April 19th. This was a good one.
That's how
You
I
really,
get people.
wow, you
I do
really
April
got me
Fools
this
all
time.
through April.
You know what? You keep talking, and so I stop interrupting you. I'm gonna eat a Reese's. We're not sponsored by them, but I'm eating one.
I made homemade Twix last night.
Ooh.
So Sean Levy, who
These
most
are
people
homemade.
would know from directing Deadpool and Wolverine, he did the Adam Project with Ryan Reynolds. He did Free Guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that's spearheading. I think it's the D&D show that we talked about on this pod not too long ago. So incredible writer. He's a very good director. Worked with Ryan Reynolds a lot. His Star Wars movie that he was signed on for like a couple years ago officially is coming out in 2027.
What's it called?
It's officially titled Star Wars: The Last
Lando
Starfighter.
Calrissian. Oh.
Nope.
All right.
Why would Ryan Gosling? Ryan Gosling's the star. That was my next sentence. Ryan Gosling is the star of it. Mickey Madison, who just won an Oscar for Anora, she passed on being in this movie. She said, "No, I don't want to be in Star Wars."
Good for her.
The last little bit is that this is going to take place after Episode 9, which means this will probably be the first piece of Star Wars anything that actually shows us what happens after whatever happened in number 9, where the lightning was in the sky and all the ships fell down.
Okay. If there was any bit of Star Wars that I don't remember shit from, it's Episode 9. I remember
somehow
they jumped from one starfighter to another one on a giant ocean planet.
That's Furious 7 where they do the car.
Yeah, no, that's Star Wars Episode 9 too, baby. That's I remember that, and I remember the line "somehow Palpatine returned." The rest of it was just me in a blacked out rage of why anyone would ever clear that line to be in a movie ever. All right.
Yeah.
So Last Starfighter after Episode 9. I got a feeling. Okay, I got a feeling there's more starfighters than that.
Not than Ryan Gosling. He's got to have his leather jacket, dude.
Hey, wait, he's gonna just be the character from Drive.
He had it. Say Drive. The stuntman movie he was in.
So he's just gonna show up in a leather
Love.
jacket, hop into an X-wing, and just like go.
And be the best.
All right, great. I hope they do a
last bit-
top-down Akira
slide.
Yeah, like a little photo,
The
like a
X-Wing
little homage to Akira, like a top-down of him walking to an X-Wing. That'd be cool. That's all I want.
See, it's Sean Levy. If it was Taika Waititi, I would think that we would get more anime references like that. But because Taika Waititi was going to do an Akira.
I know. We need Taika Waititi to do a Star Wars.
He was supposed to.
I know.
Along with a ton of other directors that will probably never see their properties. Anyways, last little bit from Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, yeah, hit
this
me.
one this is the one I'm most excited for.
Okay.
There is going to be a mini-series about Darth Maul, animated next year, voiced by the original voice actor of Darth Maul, Sam Witwer. And here, I can see the look on your face. Here's why. It's going to fill in the gaps between Solo and his death in the Clone Wars.
Just finish Solo. That Solo's better. All right, whatever.
Okay, here's the other bit of news that
Star
will
Wars
help you
makes
feel
me
better
mad.
about. Here's the other thing that will make you feel better, Kevin.
Okay.
There is a Lando show with Donald Glover in the works post Solo.
Yeah, like 5 years too late.
No, it's fine.
No, all this shit should have come out before 2020. They should have finished Solo. What's his name? Olden Ehrenreich or whatever. He's awesome.
You think that would mean that they know what they're doing?
Donald
Kevin?
Glover's awesome. They
Glover is
dropped
awesome.
the ball. Star Wars is
Yeah.
just dropping balls, man. Left and
I
right.
don't disagree.
Andor
But you know what
season
isn't
2 better
dropping?
kill it, or I won't watch any
It's
of the
gonna.
shit that's coming
It's
out.
gonna kill it.
Okay.
It's gonna kill it. Next piece of news:
Hit me.
Pacific Rim is getting a TV show over at Amazon.
Okay.
And your point about 5 years too late, 5 years
Way
too
too
late.
late.
The first Pacific Rim was 2013. The sequel was 2018. At this rate, it's been over 10 years since the original.
And we already got a really good anime about it anyway, so whatever.
Yeah, should have been an anime.
Yep. No, it was.
And
It was.
Here's the last bit of news for you, Kevin, and this is the most perfect springboard into talking about our movie
Okay, hit me.
this week. Ryan Coogler might be rebooting X-Files.
Oh, cool.
I think that's kind of cool.
I got mixed feelings
Okay.
about that because of, my opinions on Ryan Coogler right now.
Oh, well, why don't you tell me more about those right now, Kevin, in the movie Sinners? We saw the movie Sinners.
Yeah, sure. Odie Matthews at the movies. All right.
Odie Matthews at the movies.
So
you went to this one too, though.
yeah, I saw a lot. Yeah, but I play the Odie Matthews part. I give you all the credit for this. I'm good like that. What was the news that I sent you news earlier this week? I forget what it was.
Oh, the Lobo set photo, but
Oh yeah, that was cool.
I can't get 100% confirmation. I'm pretty sure it's real, but there is the possibility that some people are saying it might be AI generated or have AI elements.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, Jason Momoa was definitely cast as Lobo. Supergirl is filming. If there's set photos of him as Lobo in Supergirl, it would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But until I can 100% confirm it,
Okay.
I don't like to.
Hold on, before we talk about Sinners. All right, I've got a couple pieces of news.
You
Big.
messed up my segue.
Yeah, sorry.
My segue was perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect, but you forgot that I texted you other news that I wanted to talk about earlier this week. D&D news. Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford leave Dungeons & Dragons and Wizards of the Coast. This is huge, okay? I don't know why you would not cover this in the news, especially as someone who's playing D&D today. Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford have helped to develop out a ton of D&D, and them leaving the entire property, the entire IP itself is insane. On top of all of the drama that's been going on with Wizards of the Coast releasing the new core rulebook, changing so many things up, just the entire approach to D&D over the past year. And we've talked about this before. I really do see a new horizon for people embracing cooperative storytelling a la tabletop game, right? I think this is really I'll be interested to see where Perkins and Crawford land professionally because they're nowhere near done with their careers yet. And wherever they end up being, I have a feeling that they're going to add a lot of really good value to those teams. Chris Perkins, famously the original Dungeon Master of Acquisitions Incorporated, which is probably one of the most well-known in the D&D community live play tables ever. I mean, they have so many cool people at that table, including Patrick Rothfuss, famed writer of the King Killer Chronicles series. This is just crazy shit. And then Crawford came in and took over for Perkins, so Perkins could DM his own game that was a live play that made a bunch of money. These are all things that ran in conjunction with the most famous D&D adaptation ever, Critical Role.
Oh yeah, Critical Role. I know Critical Role. I mean, honestly, the reason I didn't really bring up the D&D news is because one, when it comes to the behind the scenes of D&D, this is gonna sound really bad. I don't care, and two, I'm not invested enough in D&D for me to know how big of an impact this really is as somebody who hasn't been in the D&D sphere as a player for longer than like I haven't even been playing I've been playing less than 2 years.
It's huge. It's huge. So that's huge. And then also I just want to share, in the spirit of this year being the year of metal music doing awesome things, Courtney LaPlante took the stage with Megan Thee Stallion at Coachella this past week. I think that was a really cool moment.
Boo,
Coachella, boo. Whatever. You can boo. You booed the Olympics too. There's cool moments that come out of it.
Our audience is booing,
it's
Kevin.
Just you.
No, it's our audience.
Okay. Courtney LaPlante, you're booing Courtney LaPlante, and that's rude.
No, I'm booing Coachella.
No, you're booing
our
Courtney
audience
LaPlante,
is booing
and
Coachella.
That's rude. She took the stage. I'm not saying Coachella's great. I'm saying you can't just lump everything from Coachella together and be like, yeah, nothing good happens at Coachella. Like, no, there's cool shit that happens. Lady Gaga did tributes to modern pieces of art. Courtney LaPlante took the stage with Megan Thee Stallion. Both Jenny and Lisa, members of Blackpink, proved that they can do solo performances. I mean, this is cool shit that happens culturally.
But did they go into space like Katy Perry did?
No.
So no, Kevin.
Boo to that.
No.
Boo to that.
Boo to that for real.
That
Big
was
boo.
yeah.
Double
What
boo.
is that? Like
double boo.
We I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying like pick a better time. Anyway, but Courtney LaPlante taking the stage with Megan Thee Stallion, just like it's another nod that like metal music is just kind of like, you know, you've got Sleep Token taking over the charts this year. You've got Courtney LaPlante going on stage with one of the biggest hip-hop stars currently. There's so many cool things that are happening. Like, just album after album after album are being released this year. I really love the way that metal is shaping up to be in 2025. All right, now we can talk about Sinners.
No, we can't. We don't have a good segue.
Yes, we can, because
Speaking of metal music, Kevin, there's a lot of music in the movie we're going to talk about.
All right, great. Yep.
If we don't have segues, people are going to get uninterested. It's a fact.
No.
I haven't had any caffeine today, so...
Okay. Let's clap again.
It's
3,
a weird
2,
weekend.
1.
Why
Wake yourself up, because you got to wake yourself up. 3, 2, 1,
busy.
harder. All right, let's go.
Can't.
Sinners. So yeah, we both went to go see Sinners last night. I think, quick, do you want me to run through the plot, or you want to run through the plot?
I want you to run through the plot,
Okay.
but first I just want to say this.
What?
It's not the movie I was expecting to see. Still absolutely fucking loved it.
I thought it was good. Okay, so Sinners, here's the basic plot. There's a boy, and man, is he the son of a preacher in the South in 1932. Yep. And boy, does he want to go play music, and he's got two cousins who are up to no good, and they came back in town from Chicago, and are you just going to hype man me on this? And they're and they want to set up a juke joint, and that juke joint is being sold to them by a super racist white guy who threatens to shoot them on the spot. And then they go and set it up, but what do you know? There's a fucking vampire in the area, and he,
Jack O'Connell.
Spoilers, is from Ireland. And then there's a whole bunch of music that happens and a whole bunch of sinning that goes down at this juke joint. But nothing is more of a sin than draining the blood and bringing back to life the dead. And that's what happens. And then, boy, does Michael B. Jordan and Sammy and everybody else have to stand up against the vampires and try to survive the night, a la. It's a vampire romp a la Dusk Till Dawn from about I want to say like 50 minutes in the movie onward to the end. And then
I think
the end kind of covers the beginning. In the very beginning, Sammy shows up at the church and he's got a guitar in his hand. He's got a broken piece of a guitar, and he's like, his dad's like, you better repent because you were sinning, so drop the guitar. And that's where the movie starts. Overall, thoughts on this movie? I thought the cinematography and the music were amazing. I think a lot of the acting is absolutely phenomenal. I think the third act totally falls on its face. Your turn.
Interesting. I think that the acting is really good. I think that the score and the music and the sound effects are really good. I think that the directing and the cinematography are good. I think there's a section in this movie. See, okay, and we'll get more into it when we go to spoilers, but I think there's a spot in this movie where a character does something really stupid that you're not supposed to do with vampires. You probably know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Which kicks off the action bit. And I think for me, when I went into this movie, I wanted it to be action heavy. But after about 45 minutes of realizing what the movie was doing, I was like, oh, I kind of hope it's not action heavy. And I think the worst part of this movie for me is the like big vampire action sequence we get, because I'm just like, oh, it's just not very well done. And then you get this big action bit at the end with the KKK, and I'm like, I liked that action bit more in hindsight, because I don't know, like it was a lot more satisfying to watch racist guys get mowed down than it was.
That was spoilers
nothing,
already.
Yeah.
All right, garbage, bad, fun, good, or great.
I thought it was great. I really liked this movie a lot.
I thought it was good. It's not great. I thought it was good. A little more than fun. I probably would watch it again. I would not watch it in theaters again. All right, let's get into the spoilers. So,
well, I have a question for you, Kevin, real quick. Did you watch the mid or post-credit scene in this movie?
No.
This might change your opinion on it.
Okay, spoilers. What's the mid and post-credit?
Well, let's get to them organically.
Okay. You need caffeine.
Okay. I do. Okay, so the post-credit scene, the first one is the movie ends with Sammy, Preacher Boy, he leaves with his guitar. It's 1932, and then we jump to like 1994 or whatever.
At the end of the movie, yeah, it just jumps to 1994, and then it's just credits. Like,
yeah, so then
dumb.
It's Sammy, played by, I forget the blues player's name. It's a famous blues player that is actually playing adult Sammy.
Yeah.
He's playing at this bar. The first post-credit scene is Stack and Mary are still alive, and they come into the bar and are like, hey, Sammy, we love your music, and you're about to die. Why don't we turn you into a vampire?
Whoa.
And he's like, hey, guys, that day we spent together was awesome, and I'm sad that you guys ruined it by being vampires.
Is this a real thing?
Yeah, I'm paraphrasing
This is lame.
obviously.
All right, keep going.
And then they're like, hey, you know what? That was a good day for us, too. I saw my brother, and everybody was happy. And then they leave. And then the post-credit scene is just him playing in the church.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not very good.
It's whatever. Okay, hold on. Who plays older Sammy is Buddy Guy, famous blues player.
That's
Buddy
it.
Guy.
Buddy Guy.
All right. All right, spoilers.
Yeah,
Ryan
spoilers for all of
Coogler
this.
cannot write an ending to save his goddamn life. You already mentioned the KKK part that literally comes out of nowhere.
The trailer spoilers it.
But okay, but that doesn't justify anyway.
No, not at all.
I had a ton of fun in the beginning of this movie. This is very reminiscent of Black Panther for me, because I'm like, oh, Ryan Coogler. All right, cool. And then I saw that his wife Zizi's working on it with him, right? That's his wife? Or is it a relative? I don't know. Anyway, so I'm like, oh, this looks cool. Let's jump in. And like literally the first act is a ton of fun. There's good music going on. You're kind of wondering why Sammy's messed up in the beginning. You're like, oh, is he the only survivor? Because he shows up to this church and his dad's like, drop the guitar, boy. And then you get like the world building and the scene setting that Ryan Coogler does in the beginning of this film is amazing. Let me pay this film some compliments, because I feel like I'm going to end up focusing on the criticism later. Here are my big compliments. One, the scene setting in Act 1 and how fun it is, and how the tempo is, because like you called it a slow burn. I did not feel like it was slow. Like I was enjoying every single minute of that leading up through Act 2 and almost to the end of Act 2. I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun, and there's a lot going on. There's cool interactions. Every bit of dialogue seemed to move the characters along. 2, I really love how much he respected his women in this movie. For being a horror movie, there are no titties. There's none of like the classic horror tropes that people have kind of come to expect.
But it's tasteful.
It's
tasteful horny.
It's not horny. It's just normal. Like, people have sex. Like, that's fine. You can include that as part of a movie where people have, like, romantic interests in one another. That's fine for me. Like, having sex doesn't make a movie horny. Like, it's how the sex is portrayed that makes it horny. And I don't feel like this one was horny. Like, I feel like it was fine. But he did a really good job the closest we get to like objectifying women, and maybe this is because ZZ Coogler worked on it with him, but like the closest we even get to objectifying women is there's the scene at the train station where they make the joke about Haley Steinfeld having a nice butt. That's it. That's the only bit where he's like, oh, maybe she's black. You know, like he's like, you sure she's white? I was like, oh, that was a good one. All right, cool. That was it though. And then I also really, really loved how he didn't hold back from killing off characters. Like I felt
I was gonna say that was one
good.
thing
Yeah.
I really loved that the entire time, and this is where I think the trailer spoiled some stuff for me, is because in the trailer you find out that one of the brothers gets turned into a vampire because they're like, they say in the trailer, that's not your brother anymore, and I'm like, okay, well that kind of like I wish that wasn't in the trailer.
Yeah, same.
And then there's also that character Flatbread or
Cornbread.
Cornbread. Thank you. Cornbread.
Just bring it up on your phone, dude.
I could do that, but I don't want to.
Fine.
But I think that the trailer does spoiler a little bit of who like lives and dies. But on top of that, there were still characters in this that I was like, oh shit, that I didn't think you would die, and definitely not like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a moment, and I kind of want to talk about this, but
Just
in the third act. The final battle, and this is where I was like, I think I even sighed out loud. I was like, oh no. There's this these I think they're Chinese
Asian American immigrants.
Yeah, they're like local store owners, and they have a daughter.
They own
and
competing grocery stores across the street from each other.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Awesome. I really liked that.
They have 2 grocery stores in this town, and they own both of them.
I love that actually.
And did you catch that one of those is where there's some people in this movie that pay for drinks with like these wood tokens that are
wooden
good
nickels
at one of the grocery stores.
Yep.
One of those grocery stores does that, and the other one is for like more expensive people, so they cover both markets. I thought that was cool. But her husband goes out to get the car before everybody realizes it's vampires.
Yep.
He comes back. He's obviously a vampire.
Yep.
And then later on, she literally is just like, she just decides to yell to let them all come inside.
Mm-hmm.
And her big plan was to throw a Molotov cocktail, which the Irish vampire just swats away. I thought that was so funny. He's just like, nope.
Oh, yeah. No, that was good.
Swats that bitch.
Yeah.
And then the bitch being the Molotov cocktail.
Yeah.
And then she runs out the front door on fire with a wooden stake and kills her husband, and they just burn to death together.
Well, because he said he was going to go get their daughter.
Yeah, and like I get some of that, but like I just think that having her break, I hate when there's a character that just like does the one thing that they're told not to do, which is, you know, like I think that they could have done it a little bit better, in my opinion, on letting the vampires in.
Mm-hmm.
I think just having a character yell, come on in, because she's so upset and like, I don't know, like that. And then you get this big vampire fight, and I told you on the phone, because obviously we talked after the movie, but like there was more people getting killed by vampires than there were survivors in the building.
Yeah, that didn't make sense to me. Because, yeah, you know there's like 8 people or like 6 to 8 people who have survived so far, and then there's other people just like getting killed anyway.
Dying?
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like they really killed very many vampires.
Like I said, Ryan Coogler cannot wrap up a movie to save his life. I'm convinced at this point. Like, for real. Like, after... Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. I want to highlight what this film does really well. First off, the world building's amazing. The dialogue is impeccable. Like, there was not a bit of extra dialogue, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Everything was to the point. It moved the plot along. It got us to where we needed to go. I love how the character introductions each set up a vital piece of the plot in the second and third act, including Annie, who is the person who understands what they are because she is an immigrant who like dabbles with what would have been labeled at the time as witchcraft, but more so she's just in the supernatural. She deals with that. She's awesome.
Yeah. And I liked on Annie. Yeah. This is the one character that I really thought was like really well done.
She was amazing.
Because it's a character that, for one, her relationship with everybody makes sense. She's a former lover of one of the brothers. They had a kid that obviously passed away. That's very much implied. Mm-hmm. But like when everything's going down, she's like, oh, it's these things called fiends, or I think she calls them fiends. And then later on,
she
she's
calls
like,
them
nope.
hates. That's
hates. Mm-hmm. That's what they're called.
Yep.
And then later on, she's like, No, actually, these are vampires, and here's how you kill them. And you're like, oh, well, you would know how to do this because you run a weird shop in the woods with a bunch of weird witchcrafty stuff. So, like, it was nice to have a character that organically knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And I think the time setting, because, like, obviously with modern horror movies, like, people can be like, oh, my God, this is vampires. I read about it on Google. But when you're in 1932, you know, I mean, like, dude, when were vampires, like, let's see, the first Nosferatu movie would have been
it's
that
not
long
in popular culture yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you wouldn't know about vampires.
No,
really,
she's
like,
the
in
expert on them. She also,
and I like that a lot.
I like that her mojo bag comes into play. She had given Smoke a mojo bag that's apparently been keeping him safe. You know, like, and she even reveals that in a good way. She's like, "You don't think I've been praying for you and your brother every day? You don't think I've been protecting you?" And I was like, "Oh shit, maybe there is some cool supernatural shit going on." The other thing I want to highlight that this film, okay. And then also, I really like Haley Steinfeld in this movie. I think she did an awesome job. I think she was given a character whose presence is both pivotal, but not overly played. So, like, she has a smaller role, but it is important. And I think she does a very good job of not overacting anybody. She was, like, very present in the scenes that she was in. When she's in control of the scene, you can tell because the feel is just different. And then the rest of the movie, she's kind of giving the scene to the people who are talking like you're supposed to, like a good actor. And then leading up to the point where she kills Stack, I was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And then she comes back later and she's one of the vampires, and like, even the feel of that character evolves throughout the movie. Like, I really enjoyed that entire bit for her.
Really? Yeah. See, I think
she was
for
good.
me, I feel like Haley Steinfeld's character was my least favorite character in the whole plot. And I don't know if it's just her, which I don't have a problem with Haley Steinfeld. Like, I've never, like, I love her in the Pitch Perfect movies. She's great as Hot Girl, or Hawkeye Girl, or whatever, in the Hawkeye show. Like, I like Haley Steinfeld, so I know it's not an issue with her as an actress. I don't know. I guess maybe, and I think you said this to me last night, I think maybe it's because this is such a different role for her that my brain just cannot let the synapses, like, fire to like, be like, oh, this is a good role for her. Because I agree. I think she's good in the role, but there's something about that character, and maybe that's intentional. Maybe you're not supposed to like the character because, like, on the whole, none of these characters are good, and I liked, except for Preacher Boy, none of these characters are innocent in anything that they've done. And that's where I think the sinners tag really comes in, because they either have connections to Smoke and Stack, who were, you know, there's a line that they worked for Capone in Chicago. They're gangsters, they're mafia, they're hardcore. They'll shoot people in the street even if they know who they are, just because they were trying to steal and they have to keep their reputation, which I thought was a good moment in this movie when he shoots those two burglars and he's like, well, can't let you guys get away with nothing. Bam.
Yeah, that was a really good moment. Like, when he shoots the other guy in the leg, he's like, why'd you shoot me? He's like, I can't let somebody get away saying they almost robbed me.
I got a rip.
Yeah.
So I think, I did really enjoy that everybody in this kind of had a sin of some kind, except for Preacher Boy. I think it's kind of poetic that the one person who gets away with it, not get away with it, but, like, survives the night and is the one that is technically the most innocent is the son of the preacher, who is the only, you know, it's Sammy, it's the blues player, he's the only survivor.
Well, Sammy, like, I knew going into this movie that they were going to mention the devil because, like, there's a big blues underlying blues theme to this film. And Sammy's the one who's playing it, and a lot of people, especially back in that time, called the blues the devil's music. Now, this was because black people invented the blues, and, like, there's definitely a racist component to that. So, like, to have him playing the devil's music, and then to have that moment where the vampire, whether it was, like, meant to play out this way or not, I think you're supposed to assume your own point of view on this, but when he's like, oh, you're the one who summoned me, I heard you, you know, like, I was like, Probably not. He probably just heard him, but he's definitely playing on the kid's weakness and his like young naivete. I thought that was really good. I think the music itself in general was really well handled, especially that scene where they do the music through the ages in the
past
barn.
And present in the future.
Yeah. And
that was a oneer, too.
That was
it's
awesome.
One shot.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
And then to even use that as ways to reveal different pieces of different characters, like the girl who's married that cheats on her husband with Sammy. Oh, yeah, Sammy did sin.
Oh yeah, I guess he did.
Yep. So she was married and she cheats on her husband with Sammy. Like she has a really awesome sultry song that she's singing about like causing trouble and and then even the vampire himself, like when they reveal that he's actually Irish and not Southern, it's through the songs that all the vampires are singing with him, and that's because in this world specifically, when you become a vampire, you gain the collective memories of the vampire clan. So, like, that was cool. Yeah. I liked that. They kind of play into a lot of the vampire themes, like the biggest one, of course, being, like, they have to be invited in.
I like that one.
That was really good, and that's a really good way to keep them outside of the juke joint, which is the main set piece for this entire movie.
Yeah, it's an old sawmill, basically.
Yeah, this old sawmill / juke joint is, like, where that is. Now, how did you feel about the introduction of the vampire character? Like, I thought it was good. I thought having him show up steaming in the sunlight, like about to burn up at sundown because he's being hunted by a Native American tribe who obviously want to kill vampires. That was good.
That's one thing so you mentioned this. There's two things that you mentioned that I like. One, the blues music. There's an older blues player. His name is Slim. Mm-hmm. He has a line that says, "White people really love the blues music. They just don't like who invented it." And I was like, yes, I love that. That was such a good line in the car. And if anybody, and I'm going to say this here, and then I'm going to get to my other point. This movie is not for anybody that has an ounce of racism in your body, because you're not going to like it.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry. And if you have an ounce of racism in your body, fuck off. But
that too.
That too. I loved the vampires, and I love the way they're portrayed in this. I love that the Indians are chasing him, and he gets to the KKK people's house, and he comes up with this plan. And I agree with you. I don't think he sought out Sammy because of his music. He knew that the KKK was going to go there, and they were going to kill all the black people because that's what they do. And I think he just used that to his advantage. He is the main vampire very much struck me as somebody that would say and do whatever he needed to get what he wanted.
Oh, yeah,
and I
for
thought
sure.
That was evident up until the very end when he explodes in the sun. I thought his character as a vampire and as a villain, I love that it's not just straight up, I'm gonna bite you. It's like when Haley Steinfeld's character goes out to talk to the 3 original vampires, it's a very normal conversation and it's very tense. I'm like, is he gonna bite her? Are they gonna kill her? Like, what's gonna happen? And then it's as she's walking away, you just see him jump in the air, and that's it.
They did a really good job working that hand into the frame on her too, as they were closing in on her metaphorically.
Mm-hmm.
Like that lady's hand just gets more and more into the frame and toward her neck. That was good.
I thought that the way, I will say, and maybe this is why the big fight with all the vampires at the end is a little upsetting, because the build up to them being outside, and then they send everybody home. Well, the vampires catch everybody that's leaving, and next time you see everybody, they're all dancing in a circle singing this Irish folk song, and there's only 7 survivors.
The Rocky
left,
Road to Dublin. That's the song.
I really feel like they did a good job of setting up all the vampires' presence, and I thought that the conversations in the doorway were all done really well.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It just kind of feels like not it was all thrown away, but it feels like a lot of that buildup was kind of diminished by this lady just yelling, "Come on in, you motherfuckers!"
Yeah. All right, so first off, we talked about this, and one thing that I love is apparently when people become a vampire, they just become very rude when you don't give them exactly what they want. They're just like, "Yeah, well, fuck you, bitch!"
Dude,
it's like, "Are you a vampire?" And they're like, "Fuck you, I'm a vampire. Fuck you, bitch!"
This character.
All the nice characters just all of a sudden their language just shifts, and I was like, well, that's funny. That's a good way to do that.
And my favorite part of that is there's this character named Cornbread who the twins used to work with back in their mobster days or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's hired to watch the door.
The bouncer.
Make sure the bouncer, thank you. And so he leaves to go to the bathroom. He gets turned into a vampire, and when he comes back, he's like, "Yeah, come on guys, just move out of the way and just let me in." And Annie's like, why the fuck do you need an invite? And he's like, fuck you, I'm not talking to you, Annie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the guy that literally, when we met him, he was like, don't be cursing around my wife.
Yep.
This is my wife. Show some respect.
100%.
And then now he's like, fuck you, Annie. Fuck you, Smoke. Let me in. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the
It's like, and then Annie's like, you're awfully rude. You must be a vampire. It's like, yeah, fuck off, Annie. I really I love how they played into that a little bit. So the big fight scene kind of comes out of nowhere. Like, we have a lot of character development both in the sawmill and through like the different interactions that are happening there. And, you know, like Sammy's with that one girl, and, you know, Smoke and Annie have their thing, Stack and Mary have their thing. Like, it's very, like, it's cool to see how everybody dances around each other. We get like the big montage. Delta Slim is playing really cool songs. Like, everything in there is kind of cool, and it carries through to the part where all of a sudden, like, everybody else, it's revealed pretty much everybody that left has been turned into a vampire. And then the Asian lady, I think her name was Grace. She yells, "Come on in, you motherfuckers!" And I do like how it was done. I like the shot here, where she says it, and then it just kind of zooms in, but not all the way. So you kind of still get like a medium wide shot of Remick, the main vampire, the bad guy. He's just like, oh, here we go. And I was like, okay, all right, that's cool. But then they come in, and like you said, it's just like, it kind of like, it ruins everything that they had built up to. And then to go back to what I was saying, Ryan, I love this movie, and it's the same thing with Black Panther. This is a parallel for me. Like, Ryan Coogler, the end of this movie, I was just like, the last 5 to 10 minutes, I was like, what? Why are we rushing all of this? Why is all of this happening all of a sudden? Yeah, and it's like, I told you, like they have the vampire fight, and then it's like, it's almost like somebody was like, he was like, all right, and that's a wrap. And they're like, no, all the vampires are still outside. And he's like, oh yeah, shit. Well, she could just yell for them to come in, and then we'll shoot them all. And then it's like, all right, cool, and that's a wrap. We've defeated the vampires in the pond out back, you know, because like they have that big scene where Remick's like, I could fucking cure you of every. I also do like how the vampires are preaching fellowship and love, and then the moment that you question them, they're like, yeah, well, fuck you.
Yeah, they're very there's like an oxymoron to the way the vampires are in this movie. Yeah. In a fun way. But then so after that, I'm like, okay, well, so now we're back at the beginning. He's with his dad. And then we cut back to Smoke, who apparently has survived. And I feel like somebody was like Ryan Coogler was like, all right, and that's it. We've wrapped it up. We've come full circle. He's back at the church, but then he's going to go off on his own. Spoilers, we're in the spoiler section. He goes off on his own, becomes a blues legend. And somebody was like, yeah, what about the KKK? And Ryan Coogler was like, shit, I forgot about the KKK. Yeah, you know what? Hey, Michael, why don't you get back over here? We're going to shoot a bunch of KKK guys in the daytime now because it's the daytime. Remember how that somebody said earlier that they were going to come kill you in the nighttime because that would have been a more opportune time under the cover of darkness to come kill you? Yeah, well, we didn't do that. So now you're going to kill them in the daytime. So why don't you get the stuff out of the trunk and we're going to have a big action sequence. You know, like it feels like they were forgotten as a plot thread. Because I was almost hoping, and this is like, like 2020 hindsight or whatever. Like, I didn't direct it, I didn't write it, but like, why didn't we have KKK vampires? That would have been sick, bro. Like, okay, so
that would have been cool. Like, have them show up and fight some of the vampires and actually kill some of them, but then some of the KKK get turned into vampires. Like that. There were so many opportunities that were wasted in this, I think.
Does it feel to you that maybe the vampire inclusion in this plot was a secondary inclusion? And, like, originally this was about mobster brothers and, like, kind of more in that line, and then Ryan Coogler, and I know the answer to this, it's not. This was based off of a graphic novel about vampires that he wanted to do. So I know that's not the case, but there is a small part of me that's like, man, it almost feels like there's two different movies in this movie to a small extent. Well, because I feel like the KKK threat could have been enough and you didn't need the vampires, or vice versa.
No, I like the vampire thing. I don't feel... I think that just specifically this, like, ending sequence where they're cutting back and forth between Preacher Boy, who we know has survived and is just, like, with his dad. I get the parallel he's trying to draw. Like, Preacher Boy is out on his own, and then here's the more mature version of someone who's been out on their own. They're hardened by the world. They're an expert at their craft. They're good at what they're doing. They're going to stick to their guns. Haha, pun intended. But like they're cutting back and forth, but I just feel like that entire scene with the KKK was like added on. It was almost like a Django Unchained moment, and Ryan Coogler was like, "Yeah, and then we'll kill all the KKK
I
guys."
do really like the shot of him trying to put his cigarette together, and he keeps shaking and everything. I thought that was just
good,
so good, so good,
dude. Honestly, okay. It could have ended with him, like, setting the barn on fire with the cigarette that he finally puts together and, you know, the other kid driving off into the distance. If anything would have been better, but instead it just drags on. And then we do get a nice shot of Annie with their baby because she's, like, mentioning, you know, hey, we're going to be waiting for you. Like, that is cool that, like, we get the shot of Annie and Smoke's baby, and Smoke's looking at them, and the other guy's like, hey, I got money, and then he just shoots him up. Like, I was like, all right. Like, there's some moments in there that are cool, but all in all, it just feels like too much, and too much is going on all at once. And then the end of the movie, like we said, it was like a very knee-jerk moment because it just shows him driving, and then it cuts to, like, and then, like, it shows, like, a location
for, like,
and a
2
date.
seconds.
Yeah, it's like 1994, and it shows him playing, and then it's like credits. And I was like, wait, what? Like, yeah. And that's
and then there's the post credits where it's just basically Stack and his girlfriend Mary are like, hey, we're still alive. We love your music. The whole point of that plot, the post credits, is basically we could make you a vampire so you could keep playing music because we love your music. That's basically all it is.
And he's just like, nah.
And he says no. But the bar he's playing at is named after that girl, Pearline, that he, you know, had sex with for like 5 seconds.
Yeah. Like, and that's, to me, okay, so, and like what we're talking about right now, that's what made this movie not great. That's what made it good. Like, I was like, okay, it up to a certain point, it's good. Like I said, I'd watch it again. All in all, I had a ton of fun in the first and second act. If the end's not that great, whatever. I've watched Black Panther since, you know, like, but I agree. Like, if I'm Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler's like, hey, you're going to be in another film, I'd be like, dude, are you going to kill me again? Because, like, he loves killing Michael B. Jordan.
Fruitvale Station, Black Panther, this movie.
He loves killing some Michael B. Jordan. Yep.
Kind of hard to get away with that in Creed, though.
No.
I do like the KKK scene at the end. I think it's cool to see. Like, I like the way that it's done, where he's hiding in the woods with an M240.
That was cool.
Or not an M240, but he shoots him from the woods, and he picks up a Tommy gun, just sprays them all down. I thought all of that was pretty well done. I agree. I just don't think it fit at that part in the movie.
Yeah. It would have been way cooler.
Felt like it should have been a flashback.
It would have been way cooler if they had gotten the trunk earlier and there was like tension around that and that got them the gun. So then they call the vampires in and they're more prepared and there's you know, like there's so much that could have gone differently that would have been way more rewarding, right? I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying like it was a bad movie. I'm just saying, like, it could have been more rewarding as a third act. Yeah.
I don't disagree. Here's my question for you.
Hit me.
There's a moment where Smoke shoots Cornbread in the face and his face never heals. So my question is, if these vampires don't heal, couldn't you just theoretically shoot them until they're mincemeat? I
don't know why he doesn't heal, because the other ones from earlier did. Like, the other white vampires looked fine.
The Irish guy was like burning and he healed.
Yeah, and there's some stuff that like there are a few pieces that were kind of like, whatever. Like, I think they kind of just kept that because it looked good. And like whatever, I'll overlook it. One last little thing. I did like how they showed that Remick in like a true form wouldn't look human, but I also like that we didn't get the full version of that. Like, we just kind of got like this half face, like razor sharp teeth, like demon looking thing. Like, that was cool. A lot of stuff that I really liked about this movie. A lot of really good choices overall. Yeah, good.
It's worth seeing 100% regardless.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll tell you what,
worth seeing.
I actually liked the ending of this more than I liked the ending of Daredevil Born Again Season 1.
Agreed.
So let's get into that, because I did finish watching that this week. What are your
I've changed my tune a little bit since we talked a couple days
ago.
ago.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you fill me in on what you think about Daredevil Born Again Season 1, which is
Okay,
what is season 2 going to be called? Born Again again? Like,
no, it's just that's the show is
it's
called
called
Born Again.
Daredevil Born Again. I get it, but it's just
So-
like, come on, man. Like,
Okay,
you're only
here's something. This is what you need to know from the first 3 seasons of Daredevil from Netflix. I'm going to keep this very brief because really you don't need to know a lot, which I think is a good thing, but I also think is a bad thing.
Yeah.
And where I want to focus is the Bullseye Fisk relationship in season 3 ends with Fisk breaking Bullseye's spine.
Yes.
And that's why Bullseye is like sent away. And then you find out in this one that it was Vanessa Fisk that hired Bullseye to kill Foggy in the beginning because he had evidence that was going to make this place called Red Hook. Basically, like, they wouldn't be able to run their criminal empire there anymore, blah, 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 blah. My problem with a lot of these characters that come over from the previous Daredevil show is that they either feel really accurate and spot on to who they were, or they feel all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
And the problem, I think, with Daredevil Born Again, the more I think about it, is the character of Fisk. He was in the first 3 seasons of Daredevil. He showed up in Echo. He showed up in Hawkeye. He's shown up in so many other shows that I'm like, who... Your daughter Echo blew you in the head, and that's why Vanessa was cheating on you or whatever. Like, how long have you been gone? Like, what is going on? Like, there are some gaps that I'm like, not great.
Yeah, they kind of do the classic Marvel, like, he's here now, and that's it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Don't worry
about it. Don't think about those 6 episodes of Echo that nobody saw. It's probably not important, and those characters we'll never see again.
Did you see Echo?
No.
Me neither.
I forgot it came out until this show. I literally looked up one of those articles from like Screen Rant or whatever, those clickbaity ones that was like, everything you need to know about Daredevil Born Again before season 1 starts. And I was like, wow, I don't remember any of this. But season 1, Daredevil Born Again, the high view of this is it starts off with Murdoch at law with Foggy and Kristen?
Something like that.
And Matt, Bullseye attacks, he kills Foggy, Karen Page is the other one.
Karen Page and Foggy.
Karen moves to San Francisco. Matt starts a new law firm with this other girl. And then, a majority of this season is either law stuff or it's him having a brief conversation with Punisher for 2 seconds. A lot of it is revolved around getting the White Tiger free, only for him to get immediately killed.
Yeah, which was weird.
Then there's a bottle episode, bank heist episode, where a character from Miss Marvel, another show nobody saw, makes an appearance. Then there's this small, like, serial killer Muse storyline, which I think is probably the best part of the whole season.
Okay.
And should have been
more.
Probably should have just been in season 2.
More
honestly.
of the season, yeah.
Yeah, it should have been more. That should have been the whole thing.
Yeah.
Muse should have killed White Tiger. Muse should have been involved way more from the beginning, in my opinion. Because you don't really need the cops with Punisher logos to kill vigilantes. Like, we already know the cops that he's using are bad because they're a task force of the worst cops imaginable. Like, I feel like them killing White Tiger, sure, but there also wasn't a payoff there because, like, the Punisher finally meets the cop that is pretending to be the Punisher, or, like, embodies the Punisher, and there's no real, like, there's no moment there where he's like, why are you pretending to be me? It's just like, fuck you, you're just a piece of shit, and then I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. I don't know. I get what this show was going for, because like that the cops with the Punisher logos it's kind of just like a heavy-handed metaphor for racist cops in our world. Like there's a lot that's like there's a lot of really heavy-handed metaphors, but then the way that the story was woven like the entire time, like there were whole episodes where like the bank heist episode, I'm like, ah yes, it's kind of like The Inside Man and Dog Day Afternoon. Got it. Like, I was like, but none of it felt, once again, it didn't feel rewarding. Like, if there was a bank heist episode that had been led into that had more to do with the plot, I feel like that would have been better. But ultimately, you just have, like, these plots that are kind of connected, and the only real through line is that both Fisk and Daredevil are loosely involved in them. Yeah,
okay, so I guess a better way to set this up, because I feel like there's so many little plots in this. The main plot that you really
tiny.
The main one you really need to know about is the fact that Vanessa, Kingpin's wife, was the one that got Foggy killed by using Bullseye.
Yeah.
And the shrink that they're seeing for their marriage is Matt Murdock's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I will say they did a good job of, is Fisk using this girl Heather to get to Matt, or is it just a coincidence that the person they chose to be their marriage counselor is Matt Murdock's girlfriend?
Yeah.
And I like that that's kind of ambiguous, but I think the biggest problem with this show is the main reason this show exists doesn't even come into play until the last episode. Not even the second to last. The last episode is when everything really starts to come together, and then it just ends.
Yeah. No, and then it's like, oh, and here was the big plot the entire time. And did you piece it together? And I was like, yeah, most of it. Thank you. Yeah, mostly.
I mean, but even if I did, like, the whole thing is that this place called Red Hook is actually not a part of the United States. It's a free port.
Yep.
And the Fisks are going to use it to move billions of dollars, because if the world found out, they would have to pay taxes and customs and stuff. And I'm like, that is so let me get this straight. Hang on. I just want to make sure I got this straight. Kingpin came back to New York to run as mayor, corrupted the police, went after vigilantes, and got all this stuff done with power and policies and clean streets initiatives and all this stuff, and targets all these people just so this one port that nobody has even come close to figuring out is a free port can stay under their control.
He did it for a tax break, baby. That's what's up.
That's so upsetting compared to Kingpin's motivations in the past.
Oh yeah.
His motivation is just like to not lose money, and maybe his motivation is more to be revealed in season 2. Maybe he really does want to be mayor, and this is all Vanessa's thing. But like, I just don't think it's a very good reveal at the end that, oh my God, Foggy was killed by Vanessa. It's like, well, yeah, Foggy was either going to be killed by Kingpin, Vanessa, or like Muse.
Or
like,
just
there's not a
randomly
lot
Bullseye.
of villains.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's not a lot of villains, and I never once did I think that Bullseye did that just to get revenge. And that's something that shows like tries to play like, oh, he was on a murder spree. He's going after you guys because you put him away or whatever they did to him in season 3 of Daredevil. And I'm like, okay, but like clearly that's not it.
Yeah.
So why are you pretending like it is? And then here's my biggest complaint, Kevin.
Hit me.
I fucking love the Punisher.
Yeah.
You know that.
You love John Bernthal.
I love John Bernthal.
Yeah.
And then
you're going to go
he shows
speed
up in
dating with
episode...
autistic Ben Affleck to get close to him.
Oh, wait, no. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Have you seen his sick back tattoo, bro?
That Phoenix?
All right, keep going.
I loved his part in episode 4 where he shows up and he, like, gives Matt Murdock this really, like, you are not as different as you think you are kind of speech. And I was like, oh, man, dude, this is what I love Punisher. And then he doesn't show up again until episode 9.
Yep.
And I will admit, I love, and this was my biggest worry, I love that they kept his relationship with Karen. Because in Daredevil season 2 on Netflix and Punisher season 1 and Punisher season 2, he has a very close relationship with Karen.
Yeah.
And I love that. But he shows up. Yeah. He helps Daredevil fight. Yeah. They kill some cops, right? And then they get back to his hideout, and he's like, you guys, fuck off. I'm Punisher. I don't need to be with you. And then out of nowhere, he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to one-man army myself into this giant hideout, which is not something the Punisher would ever fucking do, with no thought, no planning, no gadgets, no guns, nothing. He just walks in and starts shooting people. And some of you might be listening and be like, well, I've seen Punisher do that before. No, incorrect. I love the Punisher. I will die on this hill. He never would have just randomly been like, well, I guess I'll grab my one shotgun and my bulletproof vest and go fight this giant army.
Yeah,
that is not what
he's
Punisher
road
does.
rage Batman.
He would have multiple guns. He would have places to stage them. He would scope it out a little bit first. He would not just go in blindly.
Yeah,
like
100%.
And that's all so he can escape in the post-credit scene because we're getting that Punisher special, kind of like Werewolf by Night.
Whatever. Yeah. There's a lot
I've
that's
soured
just kinda,
on it a little bit.
There's a lot that's just kind of roped together in this. Like the first 2 episodes, I was like, ooh, this is very promising. I like where this is going. And
amazing.
It gave me everything that I need out of Daredevil season to say it was fun, right? Probably won't watch it again. It was fun, but it wasn't good or great.
I'll watch clips.
Yeah.
Like moments.
But like it gave me Wilson Fisk sitting in different settings going, back when I was a boy and the New York City was different. Yeah.
I care about this
all
city.
Of
I love you,
I
New
actually I love Vincent D'Onofrio doing that. Like it's phenomenal.
Oh my God.
It's great. And that's one of the strengths of the show. It gave us Matt Murdock having some really great interpersonal moments, a little bit of character development, and some really great fight scenes. I think ultimately the best fight scene of all is the fight scene with Daredevil and Punisher, where, Daredevil is incapacitating people and Punisher's killing them, and Daredevil's like, stop it!
Ripping throats out.
He's like, stop it, Frank! And he's like, fuck you, dude.
Dude, there's one part where he says, stop killing them, Frank, and Frank shoots the guy in the head immediately.
No, it's great. I love that.
I love it.
That's amazing. That I really enjoyed because it just showed how different they are, but how they're accomplishing the same ends. And I, all the way up until he just gets uselessly shot, I did like the subplot of like the guy in the basement, like the whatever his name was, Danny or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that was dumb. Him going out. I mean,
everything up to that, like when he just gets randomly shot, I was like, oh, this is actually interesting. Like, there's the big scene where like Daredevil's fighting Muse and Kingpin is just kicking the shit out of this guy, and I was like, oh wow, all right, yeah, I get this. There's some parallels happening here. It was. Overall, like I said, fun. Probably wouldn't watch it again. I hope second season is better, because if it doesn't start off on a really good note, I'll probably be like, yeah, Odie, you can watch this and just tell me.
I have a couple thoughts about season 2.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to say the other thing that annoyed me in this show is Matt is dating this girl, Heather. She's a psychiatrist who's helping. She's the marriage counselor for Fisks, the Fisks. And there's a moment early on, probably within the first 4 episodes, where she's like, I am fascinated by vigilantes and putting on this mask. And she seems very like pro-vigilante, and she wants to write a book about it, and she wants to like do research about it. And then Muse turns out to be one of the people she's helping. He's a serial killer that uses his victim's blood to paint murals. I do like the way they handled Muse. Muse does not have an identity in the comics. He can literally be whoever. He doesn't play a big role in the comics either. So I think they used him in a way that fit their story, and I'm okay with that. Like, you can make Muse whoever you want.
Yeah.
But the problem is, when Muse attacks Heather, because he's like one of her patients or whatever, Daredevil shows up and fights Muse until basically is about to win the fight, and then Heather just shoots Muse like 5 times, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, damn, Daredevil doesn't like to kill, and now Matt just saw his girlfriend kill a serial killer in front of him. Where is this going to go? I'll tell you where it's going to go. It's going to go to one conversation between the two of them where she goes, I saved myself. Daredevil didn't save me. I saved myself. I'm sorry. There's so much wrong with that. For one, it's completely opposite of what we've seen this character be and behave.
Yeah.
But 2, girl, I get, like, more power to you for thinking you killed the serial killer, but there was a good 5 minutes there where Daredevil was beating the shit out of him, and if Daredevil hadn't been there,
you would have died.
You would be dead, dude.
100%.
Like, I get, like, you killed him, correct. You didn't say, like, at the
you
end of the
finished
day,
it.
Daredevil did. You finished it, and I'll give you props on that. But to be like, Daredevil didn't save me. Daredevil was there for his own. She says something like, Daredevil was there to fight Muse for his own gang because they're both crazy people in masks or something like that. And I'm like, girl, he was there to save. He was clearly there to save you.
Yeah.
Like, it just felt so out of left field for her character. Yep. And, like, honestly, it felt like just a reason for them to have tension in the second to last episode at this ball. Mm-hmm. Also, Matt could pointlessly jump in front of a bullet for Kingpin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But my thoughts on season 2 is, 1, unfortunately, Spider-Man, who would realistically be in this plot because he's mentioned, can't be in any of the Marvel TV shows because of the Sony deal. So I think what's going to happen in season 2 is I hope Punisher, Elektra, Moon Knight, and Taskmaster show up. And here's why I'm throwing this theory out there, Kevin.
Okay.
Timestamp it. Everybody, here's my theory.
Hit me. What's the theory?
In Thunderbolts, everyone keeps saying, oh, Taskmaster's going to die. Taskmaster's going to die. I don't think she's going to die because Avengers Tower is where? New York City. I think, and this is just a shot in the dark theory I'm coming up with right now.
Hit me.
I think next season, Daredevil's going to get help, and Taskmaster's going to be one of the people he gets help from.
Okay. I
don't know why.
I'd like to see Daredevil just make it into the movies. Like, honestly, I could do with less than 9 episodes of this. I really like Charlie Cox. I really like Vincent D'Onofrio. You already know my opinion. I want cartoon Kingpin again. I want a scene of Vincent D'Onofrio yelling at a man to put on like a silly scorpion suit so he can go out and fight Spider-Man. I want that one. And I know he can't be in the show, so that's fine. Give me a Daredevil movie. Give me a Daredevil Spider-Man movie where he's like he's like got this really big guy, and he's like, "You're the Rhino now," and the guy's like, "I don't want to be the Rhino." He's like, "You're the fucking Rhino now. Like, put the suit on and go fight fucking Spider-Man." And he's like, "But the Daredevil." He's like, "I don't care about the Daredevil. You're a fucking Rhino." Like, that's what I want. I want angry giant gonna crush Spider-Man Kingpin, because that's his real nemesis. Like in the Spider-Man comics, Kingpin is a huge villain. He only became a villain in Daredevil because Daredevil showed up in Spider-Man. Like, so good. And honestly, that's what I want. Like, I want that version of like Spider-Man Daredevil again. I know we're not getting it. It's fine.
No, we're not.
So for now, I'm just going to go, all right, well, if it's 9 more episodes of this BS next season, like what could we call this? We could call this rope swings and tax breaks. Like, that's what this season was. It was rope swings and tax breaks.
So the other thing with this
side plots and tax breaks. That's Daredevil, honestly, like, side plots and tax breaks.
This first season is just a lot of side plots, but I think the problem with this, and this goes back to my biggest complaint with Marvel because of how big it's become and how many characters are in the world. It's hard to sit here and watch weeks play out in New York City where a known villain is the mayor and all this crazy shit is happening, and it's like, okay, I know Spider-Man can't show up, but like, we know Spider-Man's New York City. Why hasn't he done anything? We know that the Avengers Tower is in New York City, and it's run by somebody who is hiring the Thunderbolts.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they at? Where is any other hero? Because there's even a part where the police commissioner who gets his head smushed in. Just, again, like one of the
that was good.
Like, okay.
I like that scene.
Yeah.
That was good.
But, like, he even says, like, he still needs to report to the governor. And like, there's the chain to go up to. I'm like, yeah, like, that's a really good fucking point. Like, you mean to tell me nobody else is, like, even remotely suspicious? Like, where is She-Hulk? She's a lawyer that has a connection with Daredevil. Why doesn't he call her? Like,
isn't she in L.A.?
I get, maybe.
All right.
Who knows? But, like, and I understand if you're screaming at your iPod right now. Like, I understand that the reason you can't do that is because, obviously, this is Daredevil's show. But that goes back to my bigger problem with Marvel. If you're going to have these stories where a big villain is on the rise to power and we know other people exist in this world that stop bad guys, you have to make it make sense for other heroes not to show up.
Yeah, where's Iron Fist?
Well, that's the thing. Is like, are the Defenders coming back? Because if next season, no, you joke, but if next season they bring back Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist, that would be cool.
I'll be so
It would make
mad.
sense.
I'll be so mad. Defenders is without a doubt the worst piece of Marvel entertainment ever created. Period. I think. Like,
I've only seen it once. I should watch that again.
It's bad.
It's really bad. There's like a dragon under the New York City.
So bad. Anyway. So that's it. Daredevil, garbage, bad, fun, good or great? Fun, right? Fun?
I think it's fun because like you mentioned like there's moments like the opening scene with Daredevil and Bullseye. That opening fight is good. I think, and I might be in the minority, I think the lawyer like courtroom stuff with the White Tiger, I thought that was entertaining. I thought that was fun.
It was fine.
I think there's some stuff in the Muse storyline that I enjoyed, and I think that the final fight with Daredevil and Punisher just like beating people up is fun. But there's a lot of stuff in between that I'm just like, there was one episode where I was skipping ahead 10 seconds because I was like, okay, like let's get to something.
You're still talking about the
please.
same thing. All right, got it. Yeah. No, I agree. Ultimately fun. Probably wouldn't watch it again. It's fine. Muse is gone.
A little bit of a
White
letdown.
Tiger's gone. Yeah, we're moving on. Also, some of the like I get that like the asides were part of the show, but like some of the asides, I'm like, this is just dumb. Like this is just be real. Like you just shot a bunch of asides for this, and like it doesn't even feel scripted. It feels like it literally is just a random person going, "Yeah, Daredevil, he's fucked up." Like,
no, you're right. There's there's this character. Hang on, actually, I do want to talk about this.
Yeah, hit me.
There's a character called BB Urich.
Oh
and her
yeah.
Uncle
the vlogger
is the one. Yeah, her uncle is the guy that Fisk had killed in the very first season of Daredevil.
Yeah.
Ben Urich, who worked with Karen at the newspaper. I was waiting for her to do something. Basically, there's this like narrative through line in every episode where it randomly cuts to a square aspect ratio of like old camcorder style footage, which I get like is an aesthetic choice, but not a good one for this. And it's just her interviewing people being like, do you feel safe on the streets of New York City? And they're like, well, Daredevil's gone and Fisk is the mayor, so I don't know if I feel safe now. I'll tell you what, I won't go out there. I don't know. And it's like, that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Yeah.
And then she has a relationship with like Baby Fisk, who's like his little
Baby Trump
minion.
He's Baby Trump.
Baby Trump. Yeah,
Fisk.
Baby Trump.
Baby Trump.
But like
Fisk.
even that, it doesn't go anywhere. Like he pressures her into twisting a story for Fisk's game.
Yeah.
She has a conversation with the police commissioner about people that would be willing to speak up, and then we never see her again.
Yeah. Also, I hate Baby Trump Fisk and his whole character arc and like everything that came along with it, including the part where like it's apparently a problem that he got drunk and leaked some info. Like I was like, this is dumb. Like you could have done something more interesting than this. Like, okay, this is what really drags the show down. It's 9 episodes. There's not enough action, and it spends a decent amount of time trying to convince itself as to whether it's a political drama or a courtroom drama. And like that is probably what would stop me from watching it again, because I'm like, I don't want to watch all of that. It's fluff, baby.
No.
Like
it's
if the political drama stuff and the courtroom drama would have been either less or bottled into episodes themselves, I would have been fine with it.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's it.
I think it feels too much like the first season of Daredevil, where I'm like, why is there no Daredevil in this show?
I'm waiting
Why is
for
the
you
show
to
called Daredevil, but he suits up like 4 times across 9 episodes?
A lot of it's just like Charlie Cox pensively not staring at his masks because he's blind. So,
like, you know, okay, wait, hold on. Actually, wait, you just made me think of something that makes this make even less sense. How? Maybe the timeline for Marvel is all jacked up, but like he's Daredeviling in the She-Hulk episodes he's in.
Yep.
So what's up? I wanted more Daredevil.
Yeah.
And I was kind of expecting that the last half of the show would be
more
him as Daredevil.
Yeah. No,
it's just not.
It's not.
They tease it. They tease him looking at his costumes.
Yeah.
A couple times.
A lot. Yeah. He's like, I don't know if I want a Daredevil anymore.
I don't have any more thoughts about this. It's not as good as I wanted it to be. It's fun. Is it worth watching if you want to like? I think it's worth watching I don't know.
Side plots and tax breaks. That's what the show was. I do want to talk about one more thing because did you finish watching Devil May Cry?
Not only did I finish Devil May Cry, but I also finished Moonrise.
Oh, Moonrise is okay. It's promising.
I have thoughts.
Let's do a tiny little anime segment. I'm only like 2.5 episodes into Moonrise, and I might not watch it again. But
you want my suggestion on that?
Sure.
Don't.
Okay, there you go.
It is so good until the last 2 episodes, and then the last 2 episodes, I was like, you just threw everything away. No resolutions for the characters.
They Ryan
out of nowhere.
it.
They Ryan Cooglered it.
Oh no.
I'll tell you about it off air.
Okay,
what happens.
that's
You
fine.
tell me what you think.
Devil May Cry, breath of fresh air, because I feel like we came in here with 2 things that both of us are like, we're like, yeah, they're good, yeah, they're fun, whatever. Devil May Cry is amazing. I absolutely love that show.
Top tier.
That'll actually, okay, so let's just go to jams. Devil May Cry is my jam this week, is one of my jams. I have 2 jams. One is Devil May Cry. And that is because not only is it nostalgic for me, I feel like if you're someone who played the video games at all, watching the show is so rewarding because you're like, yes, this is very much like the video games. It's irreverent. The action is the focal point. Everything continues to move at a fast pace. Dante's hilarious. He doesn't stop making quips. Even when he first shows up, he's like, normally I'd have a one-liner for this. And I'm like, oh, there's my guy. There's my guy.
Oh, right, because you've played the games and stuff. I'm fresh. This is my first Devil May Cry experience ever.
All he does is make, it doesn't matter if it's like a minion, a boss, like a mini boss, like a final boss. He's constantly quipping and making fun of them and making pop culture references. That was part of the game, was all the references and him just like mocking things. And he loves pizza, and that's great. Like, who can't relate to, a half demon, half human who might possess the key to melding the 2 worlds together, loving pizza? Who can't relate to that?
I think it's good as a new watcher. Like, I liked the way they dealt with him being half demon.
Yeah,
and I liked the squad of cannon fodder that they introduced as well.
So
I thought that was really fun.
So the real quick summary: this plot was lifted from, I believe, a comic book that was published about Devil May Cry, where I think her name's Ava, right? Ava Arkham. The main female character, her dad Arkham, was the bad guy. He was like injecting himself with demon blood, and he was trying to bring the two worlds together. Like it was a whole different plot. But
the one that killed her mom in the flashback.
Yes.
Okay,
so,
that's okay.
So Odie Shankar, which by the way,
Shankar,
Ari Shankar. Adi Shankar? Anyway,
Shankar. Is that how you say it? Shankar?
I figured it out this week because
nice.
One of the hosts of a show on Dropout, her last name is spelled that way, and she said Shankar. Okay. And so I was like, okay, perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. So he and his crew from Castlevania are back. They're crushing it with Devil May Cry. I love everything about the show. Her dad is originally the bad guy in that, but in this we've got a character called the White Rabbit, and I would
love
like.
that.
I'm just gonna do a quick highlight. Episode 6 shows you everything you need to know about the show. The
beautiful art style, by the way, how
perfect.
It transfers, like no matter where you're at in the world, like the art style reflects that. Oh, beautiful!
And it was
fucking gorgeous.
And it was only music. There's almost no dialogue. And all it does is show the parallels between a boy who found solace in the demon world and a girl who found solace in wanting to protect the human world. That's all you need to know. But then everything just kind of leads up to the final battle, and what I love is there's not a perfect resolution, and there never is in Devil May Cry, which is great. Devil May Cry, by the way, is the name of the agency that Dante starts up. It's called, I think that's where we're headed in season 2.
Oh, it's not the Shadow Core or whatever?
No, Darkcom. Also, Kevin Conroy just kills it. This entire fucking...
It's so sad he won't be back for season 2.
He's so good in everything.
Incredible.
He is phenomenal in every scene he's in as the vice president. I'm like, yeah, that's right, Dick Cheney. You're crushing it, bro.
It's Dick
He's
Cheney
Dick Cheney.
and George W. Bush.
Yeah.
100%.
I also love that. I think, honestly, because they got Kevin Conroy to voice that, famously the voice of Batman from Batman the Animated Series, I think because of that, they wrote in the lines where people think he's famous. Like, they're like, it's the vice president from TV. Like,
oh, yeah, that part when Dante's like, oh, my God, the vice president from TV?
Exactly.
And I'm like, what?
I was like, oh, hell yeah. I love that. Darkcom is trying to take down demons. Dante's half demon, but also wants to take down demons. He doesn't even know that he's half demon. As we go through the show, it turns out not all demons are bad. Oh, who would have thought? And then there's a nice metaphor for refugees, which are currently being mishandled in the real world. So that was kind of cool and timely. And this show obviously was being made last year, so it's timely now, but not complete. It's not like they were making the episodes week by week and they were like, yeah, we're gonna, because of what's going on. But no, like it is timely, it is relevant. It's amazing. And I told you the only thing that I was bummed about was that Bloodstrike was eaten by the White Rabbit, man. I also like how Dante shows up and he's like, hey, how come you guys didn't get cool Alice in Wonderland nicknames? Like, that was good. He's just taunting people. It's great. They're launching rocket launchers. They get really weird weapons. A guy turns into a giant demon. This happens in the Devil May Cry games a lot. Like a lesser demon will like consume another demon and become stronger and like fight him. So I thought that was really
so
good.
There's something you mentioned, and because I don't want to forget this.
Hit me.
You mentioned there's no good resolutions, and the main demon hunter squad task force leader, her name is Ava, right?
I think so, Ava.
I finished this a few days ago.
Yeah.
I literally watched. Actually, we recorded last week, and then I pretty much binged the entire show over like 48 hours because it was that fucking.
It's good.
I couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
I like how at the very, very end, she's still ultimately they beat the rabbit and like they say blah 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 blah, but she still decides to take Dante in. And I like how there's this like confliction within her towards the back half of the season as she gets help from demons that are refugees, and she like, kind of starts to see true colors be revealed. And there's that moment where the vice president is like, your team is dead. It doesn't fucking matter. You have a mission. And she's just like, I don't love that. Like, this is my team. I liked my team. Now they're all dead because of me, because I'm an idiot, kind of, but also not really. And all of that I just thought was really well done, where the confliction on believing if Dante's on their side or not is there. And after watching Moonrise, I would say spoiler for Moonrise, but I would not recommend this to anybody. The main character, Jacob, in that show, he's got this like childhood best friend named Reese. And it's kind of like Mikasa and Eren from Attack on Titan.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And at the very end, she's still like no matter what, like, just doesn't trust and doesn't believe him. And, like, there's so many times where I'm like, if you just had a conversation, you would solve this issue, like the Post-it note kind of solution, and they don't. Whereas in Devil May Cry, like, to kind of, like, reflect that, like, the opposite of that, they do have those conversations, but because of the way these characters are and the way they're set up, it doesn't mean that they automatically believe the other person.
Yes.
And I think that's done really well. Whereas in, like, Moonrise, I'm like, there's so many things where I'm like, dude, what? Like, if you just had a conversation, like, if you just told these people this is your childhood best friend and he's gone evil and you had nothing to do with it, you probably would just be fine.
Yeah. So really quick, Devil May Cry cast. Johnny Young Bosch, Scout Tiller, Compton. Johnny Young Bosch is Dante. Johnny Young Bosch very famously is like,
you'd recognize his voice from a lot of
he's
things.
Vash
probably.
the Stampede in Trigun.
Yep.
He's Ichigo Kurosaki in Bleach. He's freaking in Persona 4, Devil May Cry, Lelouch. He is Lelouch in Code Geass, which is kind of what Moonrise felt like in the beginning. I'm like, oh, it's Code Geass. Got it. I've seen Code Geass. I know how this is going. But then also Hoon Lee as the White Rabbit, absolutely phenomenal. Chris Coppola as Enzo Ferrino, Dante's agent, the guy who gets him all the jobs that he gets. And Enzo's just he's perfect comic relief, like everything about and like not only that, like Limp Bizkit being the intro. I told you, I went back through and I was listening to Limp Bizkit, and they're actually going to be my other jam this week. And it's because I was talking to you the other day, and as I was going back through Limp Bizkit, I'm like, you know, as an old fan of that band, I did those guys dirty. Because I was a huge Limp Bizkit fan as like a 13-year-old, 14-year-old. And then one day, hip-hop and emo core and like all the stuff that I became really, really into was becoming popular, and the people who were really into that at the time said that Limp Bizkit was gay, and I stopped listening to Limp Bizkit. That was the kiss of death back in the late 90s, early 2000s, was you would call something gay. And like,
I know, but just to call Limp Bizkit,
they were like, that music's gay now, and I was like, I can't listen to it anymore, damn. So
off to Katy Perry and Taylor Swift, I guess.
Yeah, so like, so that I went back through and I was listening to them. They did some cool fucking shit for like some random white dudes with cargo shorts and backwards hats that came out of like the Midwest or Florida or wherever they came from. Like, they were pretty fucking amazing. Like, and
I'm gonna look that
and
up.
I was listening to like some of the lyrics on the old albums, like Significant Other and Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. Awesome allegory for butt sex that made it past the censors for an album title back in the day. But like, I'm listening to some of the lyrics and I'm like, a lot of those songs are just Fred Durst being like, I just want to play music, man. Fuck everybody else. And I'm like, that's a really good message, dude, actually. Like,
they are from Florida. We call
perfect.
They're from Florida. Perfect. Jacksonville, Florida.
Perfect. The only thing I've ever liked from Florida. Market. So, but like, they are like I was listening to it, I'm like, wow, this is actually really fun music. Like, and I'm so lucky that I was a kid when that came out, and like that was what was playing at the local skate park when I was a kid. Like, that's so cool. Like, I've been going back through and listening to like Korn, and then even some of the deeper cuts. Like, I used to listen to a band called, and this might be revealing too much about myself. I was such a little fucking nerd that I listened to a band called Quarashi. It's spelled Quarashi. Actually, that's my other jam. Quarashi is my other jam this week. Dude. They sound like what would happen if you mixed like Crazy Town with Limp Bizkit with the Beastie Boys. They're super versatile, and I was listening to some of like, I like went on a huge rabbit hole, White Rabbit from Devil May Cry. I went on a huge rabbit hole journey through the music that I used to listen to as a kid, and I was absolutely having a great time. And I'm very grateful to Devil May Cry for that. So ultimately, I would say the best thing of my week this week, my two jams, Devil May Cry, a little bit of Quarashi, and a rabbit hole journey through the music I loved as a kid. What's your jam, Odie?
Well, I'm gonna steal one of yours and say Devil May Cry for sure.
Yeah.
That is better than Daredevil, and is it better than Sinners? Probably.
All right, Devil May Cry, garbage, bad, fun, good, or great?
It's great.
It's great?
It's great. I mean, it's great.
Certified.
It's one of my favorite animes this year.
Greatness.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites this year. I'm very impatient for season 2.
It's gonna be great.
I also, quick shout out, Sakamoto Days. Sakamoto Days is getting more episodes in July.
Yep.
It just finished 11 or 12. I like the setup. Big villain guys coming in that, make stuff into meatballs.
Big assassin villain.
But my other jam, and I didn't want to talk about this in depth as a movie because it's really hard for me to talk about this one, but it's the movie called Warfare. Alex Garland.
Did you see that this week?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm getting kind of chills because it's really, really, really fucking good.
It's good?
If you like this type of movie. And
Like Black Hawk Down?
it is. So I would say this is more akin to Hurt Locker, where it's very, very grounded, very realistic, very the
dramatic.
The operational, like, the way that the soldiers in this movie, like, it's Will Poulter, Joseph Quinn, who's the new Fantastic Four, is in it.
We love Will Poulter.
I love Will Poulter. He was in Death of a Unicorn, which was funny.
He's in a lot of stuff right now, and good for him. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Wasn't he in The Maze Runner? He was like the dickhead kid in The Maze Runner, right?
And the Bandersnatch Netflix, Black Mirror, Choose Your Own Adventure
show.
Good. Yeah, he actually came back in season 7 as that character.
He's what's his name? Super ripped golden boy from Guardians 3.
He's Adam
Warlock. There it is.
He's from We're the Millers.
Yeah. I hope he stays ripped forever. That kid's jacked
I hope
now,
so too.
and good for
Dude,
him.
He's so hot. He's so hot. Anyways, sorry.
No, that's dude. You're allowed to say he's hot. That's good. Yeah, hell
So,
yeah. He's good looking, man.
Warfare peels back a
Wait,
layer.
who's
of
hot?
where-
Wait, Will Poulter or Adam Warlock? Who are you saying's hot there?
Both.
Oh, okay.
I think I'd go
wait,
boyfriend.
who's hotter, Adam Warlock or Will Poulter?
Will Poulter.
All right.
So Warfare, though,
Yeah.
the reason I say it's like more like Hurt Locker is there's a moment, and I'm gonna mention this clip because it's on YouTube right now.
Okay.
And I don't want to spoil anything. This is coming from a guy, Alex Garland, incredible director, writer.
Okay.
The person that helped him on this is a real life Navy SEAL who was over in Iraq and Afghanistan, and like
I like that
has a lot
people are
of
doing
real-world
that for these
experience.
movies.
Yeah. And so there's a scene where they're in this house and they're one of them is like got a sniper and they're on the bed. These are all, American soldiers.
Okay.
And the one guy's like, I gotta go take a piss. Can you take over watching? Other guy gets on the bed. It cuts around the room. People have their helmets off. They're very relaxed. They're just watching this building. All of a sudden, a grenade flies in through the hole.
Whoa. Through the
And
window?
Grenade goes off, and all of a sudden, you just start seeing people spray out the window. They don't know what they're shooting at. They can't see what they're shooting at. They hear bullets outside. People are just shooting outside. The guy that was near the grenade is like kind of like, he's okay, but he's not really okay. And it's slow-paced, high-burn action.
Okay.
In the sense that it's not somebody's going to get shot in the leg and keep stumbling and shooting their pistol. No, this is real life. They get shot in the leg, they're going down. They're probably going to get shot again.
Yeah.
Like, this is real warfare. This isn't your action movie, Hollywood-fied war movies. And that's why I wouldn't even put it on the level of Black Hawk Down. Love Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
One of my movie tickets is dedicated to Black Hawk Down on my body.
Yeah.
But that, even then, I would say Black Hawk exaggerates a little bit of the action.
Yeah.
To make it, that Hollywood firefight, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Warfare was just, it's
Is that
Yeah,
kind of
it's-
like Dunkirk? Like Dunkirk felt pretty grounded?
Yeah,
Or like, what was
Yeah,
that
but better
movie
than
that I
Dunkirk.
watched? 1924 or whatever, right? The one, 1917?
Yes.
Yeah, 1917, where they got that was a good, 1917 felt very grounded. So, yeah.
That's the one that's like looks like
It
one
looks
giant
like it's
shot.
one shot, but yeah.
This Warfare is just one of those that I'm like, man, if you were in the military and you were deployed, I think you're gonna either really enjoy this representation or it's gonna be a hard watch.
Okay, cool.
Because it's gonna feel a little real, and I think it was really hard for me to get to go to watch it. I was never deployed myself, obviously, but as someone who was in the Marine Corps for 7 years and did a lot of stuff, it was just like, damn,
Yeah, cool.
So
I like
yeah,
it.
it's good.
I like that. It sounds like it's more of a sobering perspective on warfare, which I think is better. Like
yes.
I'm not a huge fan of like glorifying hyperviolence, right? Like my general philosophy in life is just like violence is like always should be the last option. So like when I watch a warfare movie, I'm very much like, I think as a kid I kind of had a cooler sense of it because you run around playing like cops and robbers and whatever you want in your yard with your friends. You're like, oh, we're in the military and we're gonna shoot things and you're dead now. But like As like an adult, I've definitely come around to. I have a very much more peaceful way about myself. So watching movies like that sometimes can be hard. Like The Hurt Locker was a hard movie to watch. I was like, whoa, yeah.
I watched part of that last night. You know, it's funny you mentioned that too because I find it interesting. Oh, I lost my thought.
Okay.
Yeah, anyways,
great.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Your violence thought. I was gonna say that like I watched the movie The Amateur with Rami Malek where he's
oh yeah,
CSI.
how was that?
Oh, it's good. It's really good. The way I would describe Amateur, you can see it in theaters. I think it's fine if you see it in theaters. It's one of those movies that you see once and you never watch again because once everything is revealed, you wouldn't really bother watching it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I heard when I came out of that movie like a week or so ago, I heard a couple people be like, man, I wish I could do that. And I'm like, I've never understood like coming out of an action movie and like watching these people do action and being like, man, I wish that was my life where I might not make it.
I feel like, and this is a little bit of a sobering thought, I feel like people always have the, it's not a grass is always greener thing. It's like a wish you could do a thing that you've never done thing, right? It's like a meet your heroes type thing. Like when you see someone, especially in fiction, or you read about someone, especially in fiction, operating to the highest level and efficiency of a profession, be it, being a chef or being a fighter or being a lawyer or in warfare, you're like, I wish I could do that. But there's so much that gets skipped over when we're glorifying things like that. And when there's so much less of the day-to-day, the doldrum, the pain, the suffering, whatever it is that comes along with making career choices and really heavy life choices that plays out in fiction, that of course you're going to leave something going, I wish I could do that. But the truth of the matter is, like, the military is more like Jarhead than it is even like the Hurt 100%. Locker or warfare, like
yeah, you're just sitting around and burning oil fields being like, what am I doing?
Exactly.
Nothing.
The finance world is less like Boiler Room, more like Clerks, but in cubicles, like it's very much, you wish that you could do these things and you can chase those things down, but it's risk reward, baby. I mean, ultimately it's risk reward.
Yeah.
Just like if you're two twins trying to open up a juke joint down south, it's risk reward. And if you've got a bunch of a Irish beer and Italian wine and you're just trying to sell it off to your friends, you might have an Irish vampire who's very pissed. Was he related
was the
to
Irish beer connected to the Irish beer? Yeah, you just had that thought
at
the same time.
Wait, hold on.
Hang on.
I feel like
was there an Italian person in this movie?
No,
too?
you know what? That's just another missed thread. You know what? I'm knocking that movie down. It was just fun at this point because you could have connected that. Ryan Coogler is like the best worst writer I watch movies from. Like, you know what I mean? At this point,
would you say he needs to direct movies from other writers?
I would say we just need the writing to be. If there was a whole team on it, you know what? It's whatever. I'm gonna act like I'm an expert on this. I'm not the expert. I'm just here. I'm just a dude doing a podcast, baby. At the end of the day, we're just two dudes doing a podcast, just sitting. I'm in a basement. You're in a closet, and
so this movie was only written by Ryan Coogler.
Oh, okay.
He was the only writer.
Well,
this.
Bad job. You missed
Lots
a lot
of
the opportunities you set yourself up for. Yeah, ZZ Coogler was a producer. Okay. Yeah, man. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I think.
Does Andor come out next week or this week?
Andor comes out on Tuesday.
Good. We're talking Andor opener next week, right? Is that what we're talking about? The first episode, first impressions. Are we doing that? What else are we? What are you seeing this week? What are you seeing? What's going on?
Accountant 2 is this weekend.
Oh shit! You're gonna see The Accountant 2. We're gonna talk about autism being a superpower. Awesome, love it.
I'm going to another secret screening on Tuesday for a movie that's coming out in the next couple weeks, but I don't know what it is.
Nice.
So if that's anything worth talking about,
okay.
Definitely Andor for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna talk first impressions of Andor because I'm gonna watch that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we're right before Thunderbolts, right before the summer blockbusters hit, so we're kind of in that period where we don't really have much at the moment.
That sounds good to me, baby.
Yeah, because we have like upcoming, we have like Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Superman, Other movies this summer.
Yeah.
Oh, Alien Earth will be debuting soon.
Yep. Do you have a plan for a deep dive this season?
Yeah.
What's your deep dive going to be?
Yeah.
Is it a Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well,
maybe I'll do Transformers Part 2.
let's both take the week to think about what our deep dives are going to be. That's our homework. Well, let's show up next week with what our deep dives are going to be.
I had one that I told you I was going to do, and now I can't remember what it was.
Mary Poppins. Was it Mary Poppins?
No.
Mad Max Furiosa. Was it Mad Max Furiosa?
No.
But Pee Wee Herman.
No, it was a real thing, Kevin.
Pee Wee Herman's real.
No, he's not.
Ted Bundy.
Thank you once again for listening to another wonderful episode of the UnPop podcast. It has been our plum-pleasing pleasure to have been in your podcasting presence today. Don't forget to... Kevin, can you help me out here?
Thank you, everybody, for listening to another episode of the UnPop podcast. Thank you for, muscling your way through this absurd existence with us and finding a nice. You can say that all you want. I'm not saying it. Finding a nice place where we all can just embrace the absurdity that is life. Remember to check out Magnum Opus on YouTube, Odie's other YouTube channel, reviewing bad movies that are. What's your scale for movies again? Hit me with the scale.
They are either so bad they're good or just plain garbage.
Yep, so bad they're good or just plain garbage.
There's no room for good on my channel.
Nope. Be sure to watch that. The bad movies life chose Odie. They didn't choose the bad movies life. If you'd like to email us, mysecretpoweris@gmail.com. Theme music and effects by moi. Art what?
Podcast at your funeral.
Oh, yeah. Or if you'd like. All right. No, hold on. Okay, we got to do this right. All right, let's get our shit together. Ready? We're going to breathe in on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you for listening to another episode of the UnPop podcast. I'm your host and Capitan, Kevin Miner. With me, as always, was Odie Matthews. Make sure to check out their YouTube channel, Magnum Opus. mysecretpoweris@gmail.com if you have any questions, comments, would like us to talk about anything, or would like us to podcast live at your funeral. Art by FrankAce. Music and effects by moi. Thank you so much. Have a lovely week. We love you and miss you. Goodbye.
Plum-pleasing pleasure.
Gross.
Is you blowing kisses? I'm recording. Don't.
I'm also recording. I'm gonna say it. You look like.
No, it's not true. No, it's
you
not true
look
because
like Jesse Eisenberg in The Social Network.
I don't want to look like anybody that is.
Which
resembles
means
the
you look
lizard
like
man
Mark Zuckerberg.
No.
Which is, what do you want? Do you want to look like Mark Zuckerberg or the Unabomber? Your choice. Both have manifestos.
Kevin, I'm
What?
gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something really important. Okay, you ready?
What?
I'm just Ken. Anywhere else I'd be.
We're gonna get demonetized. Nope. Stop it. Nope.
We have Ryan Gosling.
Stop it.
News,
No, we're not
actually.
gonna get demonetized.
Yeah.
He's not coming here.
I'm just Ken.
Am I just Ken, or are you just Ken?
Barbie doesn't love me.
Am I just Ken, or are you just Ken?
You're Barbie.
Okay, that's cool. I'll be
All right,
Margot
cool.
Robbie. Whatever.